Welcome back. Namibia's tourism industry stands at a pivotal moment as it embraces innovation, inclusion and heritage to build a resilient future. With sustainability at its core, the sector is evolving through the use of technology, community involvement and cultural preservation. As we approach the highly anticipated public lecture on sustainable tourism, harnessing technology, inclusion and heritage for a resilient future, we are honored to have the CEO of the Namibia Tourism Board with us this evening to shed light on the significance of this initiative. Mr. Chikalu, good evening and welcome to the Daily Roundup.
Thank you. Good evening.
To start with, Mr. Chikalu, can you share the vision behind, this public lecture and why it's particularly relevant for Namibia's tourism industry?
Thank you, Nina. The lecture will definitely explore key aspects of sustainable tourism in Africa. So it's beyond Namibia, but because the approach is almost the same, so the United Nations Tourism Secretary General will definitely offer the public lecture on the aspects of sustainable tourism in Africa, but equally so also focusing on the use of technology, the bringing in of the culture and heritage tourism or heritage aspects of tourism into the mainstream of the tourism economy. The inclusiveness of tourism, which is inclusive growth of tourism, but also thirdly we'll discuss the issue of policy, whether we have sufficient policy or it's time to really look at it as the policy then provide the enabling environment to do all things that are happening currently. So, and that is the public lecture, of course, aligned to the Africa, I call it agenda for tourism, and also aligned further to UN Sustainable Development Goals. And that's the public lecture.
On the mention of technology, how does technology play a role in advancing sustainable tourism within Namibia?
Well, we are not there yet, but the technology can help us in many ways. One, of course, let's have Namibia as a center of our discussion, or as my response. You see, our tourism mainly depends on nature, is nature-based tourism attractions that includes your landscapes, scenery, and other biodiversity, including your wildlife and so on and so on. Now, adopting, for example, technology that could assist us in assessing the environmental management or best environmental management practices to make sure that the environment upon which tourism is based is really sustained. So you can now come up with applications to help you measure that, assess, and to let you know that the practices that are being adopted by practitioners, establishments, and others are really, are sound in terms of what we need under the Environmental Management Act, as an example. But further than that, really, it also helps a lot with other things. Like, for example, you now adopt what you call virtual tourism. In many ways, people could reach in one way or the other, let's say, a Tosha National Park without them being there. But you can display a Tosha in almost like real sense what is happening there in terms of the movement, animals, environment, and so on. Again, you may show that to 1,000 people watching, but not being there to even what I call damage the environment, if you want to put it that way.
Right.
But technology is what we require, the tourism. In many ways, it will make us more efficient and more productive in the aspect of measuring the tourism or sustainable tourism practices and sustainable environmental management practices, but also in making us more efficient cost, to an extent, cost reduction in terms of also reaching out to many people using technology. and cost in terms of your marketing and otherwise. So technology is what we need, and I think we just need to get there where we need to adapt solutions that are based on technology or new technology or applications.
Outside of the need for technology within the sector, Mr. Chikalo, what are some of the biggest challenges Namibia faces in achieving sustainable tourism, and how can this potentially be addressed?
Well, I think the challenges are broad. One of them really, it is that upkeep that let's say the ministry responsible or the officers responsible are checking on a regular basis that all the development, all the establishments, and all other things that are happening on the environment, that the sound environmental management practices and even environmental management plans are then done to just mitigate the effect and the negative effect of any damages on the environment. So your climate change is one of them, but also issues of waste management is one of the issues that we need to deal with. And these things relate to the consumptive tourism because you don't want to go to a very pristine landscape and then there is a wastage, there's littering that has taken place there. And we need to bring in mechanism. One or two is mindset change as well for Namibians on all indigenous travelers, so that they are complying and not littering anywhere along the roads, anywhere on the landscapes, and any other place that they may be, so that we keep this environment and by large the country really safe. Of course, there are issues of deforestation, but also could be caused by if you don't manage the area, which is in terms of capacity, how many people you could allow in Sources Play or in Netosha or in other places. So if you allow too many people to a very restricted environment, and that may lead you to, damaging or devaluing that particular natural asset. And we need to manage that our tourism naturally, and maybe going forward, we need to spread it across. Not that are centered on specific flagships of tourism, but then we spread it across the country, so that then we take pressure from your Sources Play, your Etosha National Park, and many other places that are currently our flagships of your attractions or tourism attractions.
Mr. Chikalo, what key takeaways do you hope attendees will gain from this public lecture?
Well, number one, it really is I think is learning the information, learning the importance of practicing sustainable tourism in all our efforts. Number two is what is it that we need to bring in, whether in the policy framework, to just capacitate or strengthen the issue of sustainable tourism in terms of environmental management and also the entire ecosystem and all the other attractions, that we depend on or that brings in tourism in Namibia.
Also, we appreciate your time this evening. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Daily Roundup.
You're most welcome, Nina.
That was Mr. Sevilon Chikalo on the line, the CEO of the Namibia Tourism Board. We'll be back after this brief break. Do stay with us.